The big idea behind this iVideo is that I don't believe that every student should have to take the mandated college prep track curriculum that all high school students have to graduate. I've always referred to this as the Henry Ford model of education, and I feel like as much reform as school has gone through over the years, before and since Henry Ford made automobiles, um, that we still sort of have this production line, assembly line um, feel to our education system. So the opening scene in this iVideo is intended to um, kind of capture some of these familiar scenes in a school and give you a sense of familiarity, but at the same time, a sense of kind of emptiness and a sense that maybe, these halls, these dark places are a little outdated. So as the story proceeds, we see the high school student obviously frustrated with school, um, kind of reaching a stopping point is what I was going for here, and um, getting to the point where he's had it and he's made his decision and he's not going to finish high school. And so this whole sequence is really trying to portray that frustration and just kind of that sort of that sense of giving up. I think my actor Steve Book here did a really nice job portraying some of these emotions without having any dialogue in there, and so I think this series of scenes really conveys this idea that this kid feels like he's wasting his time. Um, how long can he sit here and do this? This isn't going to work for him until he finally makes that decision to leave the school. In this sequence with the dropout, I used a feature known as Flash to hold these scenes just a little bit longer. So you see him go through the action sequence briefly, and then the end of that sequence is frozen. I threw some text up there just to kind of drive the point home um, and drive the message home, what I was trying to get across. But I think it lends a nice effect to just kind of make you linger on that scene just a little bit longer before moving on to the next scene. And I continued with that effect throughout the remainder of the film. So in this next sequence, the idea is that you see this person kind of moving on with his life. Things turn around a little bit. He's applying for a job. He's hopeful. He gets this job, and it really is trying to convey that even without this high school diploma, he is able to do some things, get a job, contribute, to society ultimately, um, and be happy and content in what he's doing. So window washing isn't necessarily the ideal job that people dream about having, but he still has this sense of pride and accomplishment in whatever work he does. To me, it was important to convey to the viewer that there's this sense of hope still for people who drop out, that they aren't incompetent, they are able to um, do things and learn, but that, again, high school isn't serving the needs of these students as they get closer to living independently on their own and having jobs and careers. So this last segment, I really went with a different design element here. I used a different filter for the image. Went through the whole series of scenes very quickly. And again, this is just kind of to review the series of events that where this student was making this decision, reaching his frustration point, making that decision to leave school, and just kind of let the viewer experience this whole quick little story one more time before walking away from it. Um, so there's a little harsher tone here, and I think um, that harsh tone just is intended to kind of jar the viewer into really thinking about the topic of high school students dropping out and meeting their needs and how we can best do that. And so when the viewer walks away, I want them to be thinking about those things, like what can we do so that this person can graduate with a high school diploma, but one that really serves his needs and gets him going in the direction that he wants to go. This last quote, potential, capacity, and possibility, is again trying to wrap up this idea that students bring all this potential. We talk about, reaching potential for these students. They bring that to us, but so many of them we let down and we don't allow them to reach their full potential because we strangle them with these core curriculum classes that somebody believes that every student needs to have in order to graduate from high school. So I think the video does a nice job of really kind of focusing in on that final point of frustration that these students have. You know that this is not something that just happens overnight, that it's sort of built up to this point, and the consequence of dropping out when we don't serve all students' needs to the best ability, best that we can.